Now, in this video, we will going to take up one more Python program, how to implement programs using functions. We have three different programs, that is to find out the factorial of a number, and then when you have when you have a list, in that list I need to find out which is the largest number or the smallest number, that is minimum and maximum. And also we have one more program which is to find out the area of the shape. So first we are going to take up the factorial of a number. How to find out the factorial of a number? By using the functions. So first I will have to define a function. So to define a function, we use the def as the keyword. Since I want to find out the factorial of a number, so I am using the variable as fact, and since it is a number, I will say n colon. What is the factorial of 0? It is 1. So if n is equal to 0, then I want to return that value as 1. Else, what I want, n into fact of n minus 1. That is how you are going to find out. Why this particular equation has come? That is because if I want to find out the factorial of 2 into 1. So 2 into 1 is the factorial of a number. So 2 into 1 means n minus 1. So 2 minus 1 becomes 1. So 2 minus 1. So n minus 1 is the formula for that. So now once I define the function with a body, now I will call the main program wherein I will say n will be equal to int input enter the number. In Python, always the input is taken as a string. If I take it as a string, then I will not be able to find out the values. So since I need to convert a string into either an integer or a float, in this case I am using it as an integer. So we have a function called int. So that is the reason why we are giving int input enter the number. Then I will call this function now. So to call this function, I will go for fact n. So this is the function name fact n. So I am calling that function fact n. So whatever the value I get, the return value, it has to be stored in a result. So that is why we have a result variable. Then I want to print. What is the print? The factorial of number is the value. So since I want the factorial of, that is a one which is in a quote, which whatever it is typed inside the code will be written as it is. The factorial of n. What is that n? N is the number which you are entering. Suppose if you say 5, it will be entered 5 here. If you say 6, it will take 6. If you enter 10 here, it will take 10. Is, again, it is a print function which is going to be displayed. Then result, what is the value you will going to get out of this will be entered here. So what will going to be the expectation of the output in this case? In this case, when you enter the number, so when you run the program, initially the cursor will be at this point. Since it is a function, it will skips all these code and comes to this. N, if I enter n, int input run the program. So initially the cursor will be at this particular point. So then once it comes to this, it will going to skip all these code and comes to this. When you enter it, it will going to have an int input enter the number. Whatever it is typed here, that will be displayed here, enter the number, which is equal to 6. Then you are calling the function. So here result will be equal to fact n. What is the value of n? N is 6, so it goes back. Fact n is equal to 6 here. Then here what happens? The value of n will be 6. So, is 6 is equal to 0. So, that is the meaning of this. Here, in the tracing you can see, enter the number, n is equal to 6. Result is equal to fact 6. So, result is equal to fact 6. So, you are calling the function, so it is going back. Then, fact 6 is 6 is equal to 0, condition is false. So, it will go and skips the statement and comes to the else statement. What is the else statement? Return n star fact n minus 1. So, n is what? 6 into fact of 6 minus 1. So, that is 6 into fact 5. So, once you get this, again it goes back. So, what is the value of n now? N will going to become 5. So, the fact 5 now. So, fact 5 is 5 is equal to 0. Then again it becomes false. So, it won't go to this, it will comes to this. So, what is the return value? The return value is 5 into fact of 5 minus 1. So, 5 into fact 4. Again it goes back. So, again it goes back. Then fact 4. I want to find out what is the value of fact 4. So, 4 is equal to 0. The condition is false. So, it comes to the else statement. 4 into fact of n minus 1, which is 4 minus 1, which is equal to 4 into fact 3. Again it goes back. Once it goes back, fact 3 will be equal to 3 is equal to 0, condition is false, it comes to the else statement. 3 into fact of 3 minus 1, it becomes fact 2. Then again it goes back. Again it goes back and it will go to find out the value of fact 2. What is the value of fact 2? Fact 2 is equal to 0, the condition is false. Else 2 into fact of 2 minus 1, 2 into fact 1. Again it goes back. Again it goes back and it will try to find out what is the value of fact 1. The fact 1, n is equal to 0. So that is 1 is equal to 0, the condition is false. Else 1 into fact of 1 minus 1, 1 into fact 0. So again it will goes back. What is the value of fact 0? That is 0 is equal to 0, the condition is true, then return value is 1. So that means when the value of fact 0 will going to return the value of 1. So once you get the value of fact 0 as 1, then it will takes the value of fact 0. Here you can see 1 into fact 0, that will be 1 into 1 will going to become 1. So what is the fact value of 1? The fact of 1 will be equal to 1. Now you are going back. What is the fact value of 1? Fact value of 1 is 1. So 2 into 1, it becomes to 2. Then again, what is the fact value of 2? Fact value of 2 is 2. So 3 into fact 2, that is fact 3 into 2, that is fact 3 will be equal to 3 into 2, it becomes 6. Again it goes back and 4 into fact 3. What is the value of fact 3? Is 6. So it will be 4 into 6, it becomes 24. And then here you can see 5 into fact 4. What is the 5 into fact 4? Fact 5 will be equal to 5 into fact 4. What is the value of fact 4? It is 24. 5 into 24 is equal to 120. So fact 5 value is 120 and 6 into fact 5 will be equal to 6 into 120, which is equal to 720. Therefore, the factorial of 6 will be equal to 720. So this is how you will be able to find the factorial of a given number. So now we will try to implement this by using a program. So how to write it in a program? So first we will going to take definition of fact n. So I will say def fact n colon. Then if n is equal to 0, if n equals 0, then return 1. Else then return n star fact of n minus 1. Now we will go for the main function, main body. N is equal to int input, So what is that? Enter the number, okay. Then we have result equals fact n. I am calling the function here. Then print factorial of comma n comma is comma result. Okay, so this is the value what you are going to get. N is result. So here you will going to get the value. So how to do that? Now we will go for this. Once I enter first I will show how it will going to work. So here I will run the program. I will say 6. The factorial of 6 is 720. So this is the output what I am getting here. So how this will going to be run? By a step by step. So first I will go for debug the Python file. First the cursor will be at this point, you can see. Then it will skip that, it will comes to this. Enter the number, I will say number is 6, enter. Then result is equal to fact of 6, you can see n will be equal to 6. Then it goes back, is 6 is equal to 0, condition is false, so it comes to this. 6 into 6 minus 1, it becomes 5. So you will going to get it as 5. Then is 5 is equal to 0. Now previously it was 6, now it becomes 5. Then it comes to this 5 minus 1, it becomes 4. Now you can see n will be equal to 4. You can see here also. So it keeps on adding. This is the recursion method. So return, so n it becomes 3. So 3 into fact 2, then n is equal to 2, then n is equal to 1, then here n is equal to 0, is 0 is equal to 0, yes. So it returns the value as 1. Then it comes to this here, then it takes the value as 2, now n is equal to fact 2, fact 1 value, then you will going to have fact 2. You can see here what is happening, fact 2, then factorial of 3, that is 6, then you will going to have 24, the factorial, then you have 120, then finally 120 into 6 will going to be 720. So the return factorial will going to be 6. So once it comes, after completing this, the result value what you get is the factorial of a number which is 6, and the result value what you will going to get here will be 720. N will going to have 6. You can see here, that is what I am trying to explain here. Result will be equal to 720, and if you just press again, the factorial of a given number is 720. Similarly, if you want to give any other number also you can give. So I will going to take the factorial of this, enter the number, I will say 10, enter. Then factorial of 10, so it goes, so it keeps on finding the value of each and every factorial. Then it comes to the return value, so return 1, so it keeps on finding the values. You can see 24, 120, 720, 5040, 40,320, 336 to 8880. Then the factorial of this number will be 3628800. So this is how you will be able to find the factorial of a given number in Python program. Thank you.